The city of Bergamo is one of the most celebrated cities in northern Italy. Its 120,000 inhabitants, called Bergamaschi, are endowed with a great sense of civic pride. You will find no litter on its streets, not even a cigarette butt. It is a spotless city, and its traffic is well ordered, which is something for an Italian city.
It is a very historical city. It is a city where Donizetti was born. In fact, behind me is the Theatre Donizetti, which is devoted to the great composer.
Bergamo occupies the site of the ancient town of Bergamum, founded as a settlement of the Celtic tribe of Cenomani. In 49 BC, it became a Roman municipality, containing circa 10,000 inhabitants at its peak. An important hub on an old military road, it was destroyed by Attila in the 5th century. Bergamo is a two-tier city. The more modern part of the city, called Bergamo Bassa, has a jewel in its crown, the old Bergamo, called Bergamo Alta. This is San Giacomo Gateway, Porta San Giacomo, one of the 5 gateways of access to Bergamo Alta. From this spot you can overlook the whole of Bergamo Bassa, a fantastic panoramic view. One of the other gateways is called Porta Garibaldi, because Bergamo is historically linked with the Italian Risorgimento, in that Garibaldi in 1859 liberated Bergamo from the Austrians. So much so that Bergamo is also called Città dei Mille, the city of the thousand. Through narrow streets and laneways filled with shops of all sorts, visitors wind their way to Piazza Vecchia, the heart of Città Alta.
We are in Piazza Vecchia, the focal point of Bergamo Alta, surrounded by magnificent buildings. And to help us appreciate these buildings is Bruno Pirola, who kindly has offered to assist us in this short tour of Città Alta. Bruno is the chairman of the tourist guides of Bergamo.
Facing Piazza Vecchia, old buildings. One of them is Palazzo della Ragione. This was the first town hall in Bergamo, was built in the 12th century, and the administration remained in this building for nearly 400 years, quite a long period. On top we can see the lion with wings, symbol of Venice, symbol of St. Mark, because Bergamo was dominated by Venice for a long period, 400 years of Venetian domination in Bergamo. Next to Palazzo della Ragione, Campanone is the tall tower, symbol of the local administration. It was built also in the 12th century. It's a big tower, 52 meters high, and on top there is a huge bell, the big bell, 7 tons of weight, called the Campanone indeed. On the opposite side, there is another beautiful building, a project by Vincenzo Scamozzi, a Venetian architect, that was the new town hall of Bergamo. It's called the Palazzo Nuovo. It was built in the middle of the 17th century, and the administration remained there for about 200 years. But in the middle of the 19th century, the local administration moved to Lower Bergamo in a new building, because in this period the town grew and spread all around the hill. Now we are in Piazza Duomo, this little nice square. There are 4 religious monuments facing this square. The most important, of course, is Duomo, the Cathedral of Bergamo, belonging to the Bishop of Bergamo. It's dedicated to Saint Alexander, that is the patron, the protector of Bergamo. Next to Duomo there is Santa Maria Maggiore, a very old church dedicated to the Virgin Mary, was started in the 12th century and wanted by the Bergamo's people, dedicated to the Virgin Mary, that, they say, saved the town from a dreadful plague. A lot of people died around Bergamo, but people living in town were safe. So they decided to build up this church and paid for the church. So, still now, this church, the administration of this church, refers to the mayor, not to the bishop. Next to Santa Maria Maggiore, another wonderful chapel, Cappella Coleoni, that is the burial monument of a great man, a great army leader, whose name was Bartolomeo Coleoni, built in the beginning of the 15th century. Now we are standing on the entrance of the Coleoni's chapel, the burial monument wanted by Bartolomeo Coleoni. Bartolomeo was a great army leader, a condottiere, and here on the fence we can see the coat of arms of the family. These 3 drops, these 3 commas, are no drops, are no commas, but they are part of a male sexual attribute. But this male attribute gave the name to the Coleoni's family, that still now is a very important surname in Bergamo. Symbol of power. Power and strength, of course sexual strength, but strength and power in general. So Bartolomeo Coleoni was very proud of this symbol. The strange thing is that there are 3 of these male attributes. Normally 2 are enough. Someone says that Bartolomeo was a sort of Superman. We don't know, we couldn't check, but for sure the name, the surname Coleoni, comes from the slang name still in use of this male sexual attribute. The 4th religious monument is the baptistery, an old baptistery built in the 14th century, but rebuilt now in this shape in the 19th century. Now we are in Via Colleoni, the main street in the upper town, well known also as the Temptation Street, just because there are a lot of little shops, bakeries, cake shops, ice cream shops. And this is a wonderful bakery, and you can see this yellow cake that is called polenta osei, that means polenta with birds, and looks like the real traditional dish of Bergamo, polenta with birds, roasted birds. But now this is only a cake with little chocolate birds, delicious cake. Una storia antichissima. Bergamo is a very old town. It was born about 400 years before Christ, and the Celtic population chose this place for their first village. And the first name was Bergham. Bergham, that means house on the mountain, and still now in the local dialect the name of Bergamo is Bergam, just the old original name. Also during the Roman domination, Bergamo was a beautiful town with temples, theaters, thermal baths, streets, beautiful houses. In this place, called La Cittadella, there was a fortification and was a military place also during the domination of the Visconti by Milano, and also during the Venice domination of Bergamo. Now it's not a military place anymore, but it's the Cittadella of the museums of Bergamo. The most important museums in town are here. It's a very old fortification inside the wall of Bergamo. It would have been the last defense of Bergamo in case of attack, but was never reached by the enemies. And now is a remembrance park, just to remember soldiers that died during the wars. At the back of the tower of La Rocca we have a wonderful view of the upper town with its several towers and the dome of the churches. So a beautiful spot, a beautiful view on Bergamo, the old town, and also the surroundings. Not too far from Bergamo there is San Vigilio Hill, a beautiful place with beautiful gardens and villas, and it's quite a pleasure to walk around just outside the upper town.